Vashem has the largest collection of Holocaust documentation in the world. We have here today approximately 142 million pages of documentation. We have more than 110,000 testimonies of Holocaust survivors. We have almost 410,000 photographs and more. I think that one of our main tasks in Yad Vashem is to take this huge pile of bodies and to assist others to take out of that human beings and to reconstruct human faces behind the victims. And this is why the human voice that the documents has is so important. It gives us the ability to tell a story of a person, to tell a story of a family, of a community, not only in numbers, but in faces. Let's take, for example, Moshe Mendel Hershtik from Romania. His son brought us a few months ago a calendar that he wrote in a labor camp in Romania. Why to write a Jewish calendar in the camp? Because when you are an inmate and they're taking everything from you, one of the only things that you can do is to control the sense of time. Knowing when the Shabbat, when is a holiday, means that you are still a human being. Having this calendar in Yad Vashem brings this human factor, this human story to the story of the Holocaust and assists us to become connected to the story. It is relevant. It is very important to collect all the documents, but it is much more important to give access to all the documents by digitizing them, by cataloging them, and by giving access to all the documents and photographs and testimonies that we have here through the internet to the public all over the world.
What you're surrounded with, I believe to be quite astonishing, because every piece of art on display is something that was created at the most chaotic and disruptive life of Jews in Europe during that period. So how in the midst of starvation, persecution, annihilation, is there a possibility to deal with creation? And these beautiful works displayed on our walls are a wonderful affirmation on the spirit of man. But when we think about resistance, we usually envision somebody with a gun or a hand grenade, and these artists tell us no. There's a spiritual resistance you can do with a pencil and a brush in your hand. It's a resistance against a perpetrator who believed you are a subhuman being. And the artist asserts the fact that he is a human being. That's a wonderful manifestation. Yad Vashem has the largest collection of Holocaust art worldwide. By now, we are all very well aware that art is an integral part of life. If you want to learn about a society, go and look at the art created during that period. So by looking at these art pieces, we get a chance to visualize just one part of what the Holocaust really looked like. We add a very important piece of how to remember.
Our focus is on encouraging and promoting research on the Holocaust worldwide. We are at the front line of research on the Holocaust, and we are in a way also updating the other parts of Yad Vashem and the educational aspects and the publications and so on with the new material which and the new findings of scholars. It is our task also to transmit these new findings to the people who work in the field of education and presentation, and of course to disseminate also to the larger public. Research that we are doing here is of enormous importance.
Recently, a young fellow was sitting on the internet. His grandmother's a Holocaust survivor, and he happened to type in his grandmother's name, and lo and behold, he gets a page of testimony saying that his grandmother had been murdered in the Holocaust, but they couldn't have been because she's right next to him in the next room. So he sees who it was filled out by, and it was filled out by somebody who turned out to be her brother. And 65 years after the Holocaust, she found out that her parents and two brothers were still alive. She was living in Israel, they were living in Canada. Can you imagine? Their parents went through the rest of their lives thinking that their daughter had been murdered in the Holocaust, and in fact she was still alive. And through Yad Vashem's website, this family was reunited. We have recovered 4.1 million out of the 6 million names, half of which was done in the last decade, all of which requires a lot of hard and costly work. And it's only through the support of our friends and partners worldwide that we're able to achieve all that we do.
The reality is Yad Vashem is recognized worldwide. It is the leading authority, and so it should be. Evidence recently of that is the Council of Europe actually nominating Yad Vashem to be handling Holocaust education in its 47 state member countries.
Unfortunately, you see things happening all over the world, repeating themselves as they did, which happened to our people. And I think it's Yad Vashem's huge role that it has to communicate through education to all people all over the world what happened.
We have the research, we have the archive, we have the museum, we have the contemporary art gallery and so on. And what we're trying to do here is to translate all the knowledge accumulated on this mountain into educational activity and share it with youngsters as well as educators from Israel and from all over the world. As time goes by, educators take bigger and bigger part in the shaping the future of society of all around the world, because as long as survivors are with us, they have a very important role. But as survivors are naturally fading out, educators are taking the responsibility for transferring the message from the past to the future based on the story of the Holocaust. Around 300,000 youngsters a year. They're coming here in order to learn about the Holocaust and to gain a meaningful educational experience. And we have Israeli educators as well as educators that are coming from all around the world. And in a way they create an international network of educators committed to Holocaust education. And I think from a human being perspective, this is something very reinforcing. I mean, knowing that educators are committed to learn the lesson from this story and to transfer it and to the next generation, make it meaningful, relevant for them, in order, of course, at the end of the day, we're talking about preventing similar atrocities from happening. And that's what we're targeting. If we want to have a future, the only way that we can assure it is by learning from the past in order to prevent atrocities from happening. If you want to take part in this attempt to influence the future, you have to support it. You have to be part of the effort.
By you supporting Yad Vashem, you're becoming a partner in commemorating what happened to our people. You're becoming a partner in Jewish identity, in world leaders coming here and understanding and implanting in them a desire to never allow it to happen again, and thereby saving countless lives. You're becoming a partner in the 1 million people a year coming to Yad Vashem and the 12 million people a year coming to our website. And you're becoming a partner in people understanding the moral lessons which we learn from the actions of the righteous among the nations. In essence, you're becoming a partner in remembering the past and shaping the future, and that's what you're investing in when you partner with Yad Vashem.
There are hundreds, thousands, in reality, of good causes. That's probably a true statement within the UK, never mind worldwide. This is much more than a good cause. This is a huge entity in terms of commemorating what took place in the past, to understanding that such a thing could have happened and therefore can happen again. So it is not just about preserving the memory, it is also about trying to make sure the world understands what can take place.
When you look back at what happened, and it wasn't that long ago, it was only a few years ago, I personally feel I have to do this for the people. They don't have a voice anymore. Their voice was cut off for nothing, just for being Jewish, for being different, didn't fit in. And these are the lessons that have to be told to the world. This work cost $45 million to run. $11 million comes from the Israeli government. $34 million comes from people like you. We cannot forget the children that died. We cannot forget the brutality that went on, the senseless brutality. And we have a purpose. We have to do this. We owe it. We owe to have a relationship with Yad Vashem, to make sure that it carries on with its work, with its research, with its archives, with all that it's doing, so that the world doesn't forget and that we don't forget.
György Vago, 15 years old, Hungary. Donia Kuzik, 17 years old, Belarus. Marcel Gringold, 11 years old, France. Marian Gutkowski, בת שנה, אוקראינה.
שרה אדית שפיגל, בת 12, צ'כוסלובקיה. אריה יהודה לאו שפיגל, 15 years old, Czechoslovakia.